Good morning, this is Kris Shoemaker, also known as Yehudah ben Shomeyr, and you're listening to Coffee with Kris, the time of the day where we share a cup of coffee and share a bit of the Word of God. All right, this is the Friday, Saturday portion of Toldot, generations, genealogies, histories. Thank you so much for joining me for the last two portions of our Torah portion for this week. Thank you for joining me on this Friday, Saturday portion for a hot cup of coffee and a hot cup of the Word of God. Today's passage is taken from Genesis chapter 27, verse 28, all the way to chapter 28, verse 9. But I'm just going to read one verse from chapter 28, and that's the very first one. And so the title of today's devotional is, She Could Either Make You or Break You. So, Genesis chapter 28, verse 1 says, So Isaac called for Jacob, blessed him, and commanded him, saying to him, Don't take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. Now, why not? What's wrong with the Canaanite women? Well, the Canaanite women were cursed because Canaan was the son of Ham, and Canaan was cursed because Ham saw his father Noah naked and was making fun of him and probably did some bad things to him and his mother in the process. And people are saying, oh, well, that's not fair. Why did Canaan have to be cursed? Because Ham couldn't be cursed because God had already blessed Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And so the next in line that the curse would have to fall to, because Ham was uncursable, would be Canaan. So the Canaanite people were off limits for marriage from the sons of Shem, the descendants of Shem, which Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob came from. So these Canaanite women were wicked women, and they were into the occult, they were into paganism, they were worshiping other gods, they were just a very depraved and perverse people. So Jacob knew, or Isaac knew, what a bad influence that a woman could make or break, that a wife could make or break a man. So he warned Jacob, and he said, don't take a wife from this people group. And all we have to do is look through the scriptures, and we can see how a woman could make or break an individual. Michal, which was David's wife, which was the daughter of Saul, she wasn't a very good wife. She was always harassing and critical of whatever David did. Oh my goodness, look at David. He's praising and worshiping the Lord in his underwear, embarrassing himself in front of all the people and making a fool of himself in front of the maidens of Israel. He says, you know what? Shut up, woman. He says, I don't care what you think. What I did wasn't for you, wasn't for these women. What I did was for the Lord. And if I'm a fool, I'm going to be even more foolish than this. I will become even more undignified than this if that means I can glorify and worship the Lord my God. So Michal ended up kind of turning on David, ratting him out, and he had to run for his life. Then you had King Ahab. He was a bad, wicked dude anyway, but it was made worse because he was whooped by his pagan evil wife Jezebel. And, now Jezebel is kind of a household moniker for a woman that's ruling the roost and a woman that's in league with the devil. Oh, she's got the Jezebel spirit. She's got the Jezebel spirit. So Proverbs 18:22 says, whoever finds a wife finds good and receives favor from Adonai. And all you have to do to look at what a good, godly, biblical woman is to look at Proverbs chapter 31. Proverbs chapter 31 is kind of a rundown of kind of the character of a good, godly wife. And I love how it opens up in the King James, in Proverbs chapter 31, verse 10. It says, I think the King James says something to the effect of a worthy woman who can find her price far surpasses that of the worth of rubies. So, a good godly wife is worth more than any precious material treasure on earth. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. That's what the King James says. So finding a godly spouse that will walk with you in the footsteps of Yeshua our Messiah, that will walk with you in faithfulness to God and obedience to his word, that is the first thing that you should look for in a significant other, and somebody that you want to marry. Not looks, not pedigree, not riches and wealth, not inheritance. Are they a godly person? Will they follow God and Jesus Christ, Yeshua the Messiah, in a sacrificial way? That's the first and foremost thing that you need to look for in a spouse. Guys, thanks so much for listening. Go out there and have a great day. Shalom, and God bless.